End times and the secret of the Mahdi, the signs of the times. Though Jesus could come at any time, we must acknowledge that the signs of the times seem to be aligning for his return. It's easy to imagine current trends tipping the world into the events of the Great Tribulation. For example, those who pay attention to the global debt crisis can easily envision the global economic collapse described in Revelation 18. In the year 2000, such a global economic calamity would not have seemed likely. At that time, the United States federal debt stood at $5.629 trillion, or about 32.5% of gross domestic product, and the US Treasury was running surpluses, not deficits. But as I write these words in 2015, the federal debt stands at $18.2 trillion, or 103% of gross domestic product. Currently, the United States national debt currently stands at approximately $39.28 trillion. This total is significantly higher than the country's gross domestic product, GDP, resulting in a debt-to-GDP ratio of roughly 124%. Uncontrolled entitlement spending will explode the debt sky high within the next few years. Unless the government quickly and drastically cuts spending, the US economy will collapse and take the rest of the world down with it. That global economic meltdown may well be prophesied in Revelation 18, and there are other trend lines leading to the events in Revelation. Every day there is more bad news from the Middle East, the region where human history began and where it will all end. Just a few years ago, it seemed that the nation of Israel had many friends in the world, and none more reliable than the United States. Today, in 2015, Israel seems all but isolated, and the United States and other nations of the world are making deals with the devil, like Judas bargaining away the life of Jesus. From Syria to Iraq to North Africa, barbarians with a 7th century ideology used 21st century weapons to force the greatest nations on earth to submit. A spirit of delusion is spreading around the world. It's not hard to imagine how one persuasive world leader might declare himself a saviour, deceiving multitudes. Paul said in 2 Thessalonians 2:3 KJV that in the church there would be a falling away, apostasia, from the faith before the day of the Lord. This is where we get the word apostasy, meaning defection from the true faith. We already see a great falling away in the evangelical church today. Many churches that once preached the pure gospel of Jesus Christ have defected. Increasingly, churches treat sin as a virtue and virtue as sin. Apostasy has infected the church. One of Satan's most ingenious deceptions is a movement to merge Christianity and Islam into a single religious travesty called Chrislam. For several years, churches in the United States and Canada have been placing the Quran next to the Bible in the pews. Ministers have been preaching the words of Muhammad side by side with the words of Jesus. Just a few years ago, such brazen heresy would have been unthinkable. Today it's called tolerance. In America today, we see government officials trampling the First Amendment rights of citizens in ways that would have been unthinkable a few years ago. In November 2014, the city of Atlanta punished Kelvin Cochran, one of America's most decorated firefighters, for writing a book about the Bible's perspective on sexuality, including homosexuality. For exercising his First Amendment rights, freedom of religion, speech, and the press, Cochran was suspended for 30 days without pay. Though the city found no evidence that he discriminated against homosexual firefighters, the mayor of Atlanta fired him. Was this a violation of Cochran's constitutional rights? Absolutely. Chief Cochran was forbidden to express his religious views, even though they did not hinder him in performing his professional duties. In the future, we can expect to see the government at all levels punishing Christians for their beliefs. Denying Christians the right to follow their conscience would have been unthinkable a few years ago. Today, religious liberty is endangered in America as the First Amendment takes a backseat to political correctness. Current headlines are filled with evidence that society is on a collision course with the book of Revelation. I have not lost hope that these trends can be reversed. I pray night and day, for the sake of my children and grandchildren, that God will bring revival to America and reverse our downward course. But as yet I see no sign that America is slowing its headlong rush to moral depravity and the persecution of Christians. If these trends are not reversed, the events in the book of Revelation may come to pass sooner than we expect.